Hi everyone, welcome back to episode 9 of Hive Knits and Natters podcast with me, Lizzie, the maker behind Hive Knits over on Instagram, and you can also find me on Ravelry at Hive Knits. Welcome back! I can't believe it's episode 9. Thank you so much for all the love that you gave the festive Christmas episode. I honestly had so much fun making it. I think it was probably the most spontaneous episode, aside from the very first episode where I just suddenly decided to film a podcast. But yeah, I hadn't felt in the mood to film at all, and then suddenly one day I did, and it was really, really enjoyable. Feedback wise, a lot of people have said they really enjoyed the change of setup. If you've watched my previous episodes, then welcome back, and you'll know that prior to last episode, episode 8, I had a bit of a different filming setup. I kind of sat a bit further away from the camera on the sofa, but last episode I just decided to film in a sort of cozy setup by the Christmas tree, and I'd bought a new microphone and a ring light with the money that I made from my first YouTube ad payment. And a lot of people said that they really, really liked that setup. They liked the camera being closer, they thought the sound was good, and they just liked it better than the previous setup. So I'm trying it again today. Obviously, I now don't have a Christmas tree to sit in front of. We actually did keep our tree for quite a while after Christmas because I was working over actual Christmas, and then we had a week after Christmas where we saw family and did bits and bobs. So actually we weren't in the flat, and then we came back and pretty much straight away I was working nights, and currently I am the one out of myself and my partner who can drive and who has a car, although I am teaching him to drive and he has his test coming up quite soon, so hopefully that's going to change in the near future. So he couldn't take the tree to the recycling centre on his own, so we were kind of stuck with it in the flat for a bit, which was quite funny. I think we took it on like the 10th of January or something, which I suppose is only just after 12th night, but anyway, that's all very rambly to say that I also really enjoyed the new podcasting setup. I enjoyed being nearer the camera, it felt more cosy, it felt a bit more intimate. I thought that the sound and picture quality were better as well, and I thought it was better when I was holding up things to the camera to show. So I've been having a look around our flat to see if I could find an appropriate space. I'm actually in the same corner that the tree was in. Obviously the tree is no longer with us. I'm on my knitted bean bag, which is actually such a comfy seat. I'd kind of forgotten. And it's got a little bee cushion on it today, which is very topical. So I hope this is okay as a space. If it works, I'll probably carry on filming here. If it doesn't, then I'll rethink. That's the joy of these things. I hope it's turned into such a bright and sunny day, and I'm aware that it's very bright in this window, so I hope that's not blowing out and like ruining the lighting too much. When I set up to film before I went to get dressed, it was actually quite gloomy and overcast and cloudy, and now it's just turned into a really, really nice day, which is obviously lovely, but it's changed my lighting setup. So anyway, we'll roll with it and we'll see how it goes when I come to edit this. That was a very chatty introduction, sorry about that. But I wanted to say thank you for taking the time to comment, those of you who did, because yeah, it was really appreciated to see that you enjoyed like the change of scenery. So I hope everyone had a really lovely Christmas, if you celebrated, and even just a little bit of a break over the bank holiday time if you don't, and Happy New Year, happy 2022. I can't believe it's already what are we on, 17th of January? Those couple of weeks have absolutely flown by. I've seen quite a lot of like 2021 knitting roundup videos, and this isn't one of those, so I'm sorry if that's what you were hoping for. But I honestly haven't had time, and I actually have really enjoyed the ones I've watched, but I do sort of have mixed feelings about them because The ones I've watched haven't come across like this at all, but I think if we're not careful, a video like that could come across a bit like, look at all the things I've made, and like more about like the numbers of things that you've made than the process. And that's not what, like, that's not why I spend my time knitting. It's more about like the process and what I get out of it. So yeah, I haven't made one of those videos. I haven't really even taken the time to think about what I did make in 2021, because honestly the end of the year just was so busy with, you know, the normal Christmas stuff and work. But yeah, I definitely have made some things I've been really proud of in 2021. For me, it was the year that my first like designing experience happened, which is really exciting, and I will tell you a bit more about that in a minute. And I did finish some projects I was really proud of. And the podcast is something for me that came out of 2021. I started making these videos in, I think June-ish was my first one. So yeah, even though I haven't done an official 2021 roundup, it was a great year for knitting, a great year for like being generally creative and trying new things. And I hope that you've enjoyed Hive Knits and Natters, and it's definitely carrying on into 2022 because here we are. So yeah, Happy New Year everyone, and it's been a bit of a funny start to the new year, hasn't it, with various things still ongoing, but yeah, I do feel quite positive. There are some really exciting things coming up for Hive Knits, and I hope that everyone has had a lovely first 17 days of January so far. So let's talk about what I'm wearing. You have seen this before. I have actually worn it in a previous podcast episode, and I think it's probably the first time that I've repeated a piece of knitwear or like a knitted garment in 2 podcast episodes. But I need to get over that because I'm probably not going to have enough new garments to wear every time I film a podcast. So let's get that in the bin straight away. And B, it's just a bit of shameless promotion because the first sweater pattern, and I decided this morning, so this is new news. Touch all the wood, if everything goes to plan and nothing major happens between now and then, should be available to purchase on the 29th of January, which is not the weekend coming. I'm filming this on Monday the 17th of January, but the weekend after, Saturday. And yeah, I'm so excited and scared. I'm equally terrified and really excited, but I thought I would pop the first sweater on so I could shamelessly promote myself and my pattern in this episode. So yeah, 29th of January should be the release date. I am hoping to have the pattern available to buy on Ravelry. I've kind of done as much as I can do on Ravelry as a draft without actually uploading the finished pattern because I'm still making some changes. And I'm also working on a really basic website to have the pattern on as well, with a very basic e-commerce shop, so that I know not everyone can or enjoys using Ravelry. So I'm hoping that having a website platform with a shop will just be another space from which a PDF pattern for this jumper can be purchased. I'm also hoping that that will let me link through to Instagram to do the Instagram shopping thing as well. I haven't quite got my head around that yet. You'd think, right, that you could just, that you could just write a pattern and that would be the hardest bit, and then you wouldn't have to worry about anything else. But oh no, it's like, oh, where shall I sell it, and are they going to take a massive cut, and how do I set up an e-commerce shop, and do I need a business PayPal account, and it's honestly, I think because it's all the first time that I'm doing this, it's just a lot. But it's fine, it's all part of the fun, and you know, if it goes wrong, it's not the end of the world. It's a knitting pattern. You've got to keep these things in perspective. I've said this before, but I honestly think that is one part of my job that I just find so useful, because, you know, stuff that happens in life, like, I've seen a lot of things, and, you know, it's useful to be able to keep stuff in perspective. I think people that are close to me find it really annoying. Like, I should imagine Pete, my partner, finds it really annoying. So I'm like, well, you know, it's not the end of the world. No one's died. That must be quite annoying if you have to live with that. So sorry about that. But you know what I mean. So yeah, hopefully Saturday, the 29th of January, this will be on Ravelry. Hopefully I'll have a website that you can have a nosy at as well. I have purchased a domain name, which sounds like super posh and exciting and tech savvy, but really I just went to a website and typed in what I wanted and paid them some money. But I have purchased www.hivenits.com, which, if you type that into a browser right now, I think you'll just get a page saying this site is under construction, blah blah blah. But as of the 29th of January, that should be up and running, and you should be able to buy this pattern through there. In English, to start with, I have had some really kind offers of translation, which I'm going to get my head around after just getting the pattern out. So I'm really sorry if English is not the language that you would prefer to read a pattern in. I am aware that it's not ideal to just have a pattern in one language, but just bear with me. I'm trying. I'm getting there. So once I've got the pattern out and got the website up and running, etc., and managed to actually do all of that stuff, I'm going to high up on my priority list is thinking about getting it translated. So yeah, again, if you have any ideas, or you know, you are a translator, or you feel like you could translate, you have the technical skill to translate a pattern from English to another language, then like, please let me know. I can't pay you, but I could give you the pattern for free. I'd be really happy to do that. So yeah, get in touch, let me know. I am going to try and set up a discount code for those people who applied to TestKnit but were not successful. I was completely overwhelmed by the response to the testicle. Remember that one? The call for testers. Yeah, so many people applied, and I only was able to pick like 2 to 3 testers per size. So even though I had 11 sizes, you know, it still was only like, I think I had 26 testers in the end, and a lot more than that applied. So I was a fool and didn't include email addresses on the application form to apply for testing, which was really silly. I don't know why I didn't do that. I just did Instagram handle, and obviously some people don't have Instagram. So if you applied to be a test knitter and weren't successful and want a discount code for the pattern when it's out, either send me a message on Instagram or send me an email and I will work something out. Just let me know who you are, what size you applied to test, like just something, and I'll try and sort something out. So that's something I'm going to try and arrange. I've had a few people asking me some questions about the pattern, like in preparation for it coming out, which is very exciting. Mainly what sizes there are, and yardages and potential yarn substitutions. So I will try and make like a story highlight or something on Instagram. If you go to my Instagram page and go back to the post where I asked for the test knitters, all that information should be there, but I will try and make a story highlight because I know people are trying to get organised. So just to answer a couple of those questions here, so there are 11 sizes. 1 through to 11. I have knitted size 3, that's the sample size, and I have had each size test knit apart from size 11, the largest size, because I was unable to find a test knitter for that size. That size is 150 centimetre to 160 centimetre bust, which is 60 to 64 inches or 62 to 64 inches, approximately around the circumference of the bust, or the largest measurement across the chest. So yeah, the pattern technically hasn't been tested in that size, however it has been graded by a professional grader, so it's not just me completely winging it. But yeah, I've tried really hard to be size inclusive. Those sizes range from 75 centimetre / 30 inch chest / bust circumference to a 160 / 64 inch circumference. The yardages obviously will vary depending on the size that you want to knit, but it will use between 6 and 9 skeins, I still don't know how to say that. We'll go with skeins of the recommended yarn, which is 1 strand of Filcolana Arwetta held with 1 strand of Drops Kid Silk, so essentially a fingering weight wool yarn held with a lace weight mohair. Yarn substitution wise, quite a few test knitters actually did substitute yarns, more so the mohair than the fingering weight. So quite a lot of people use the Filcolana Arwetta for the fingering weight. Substitutions included Sunday by Samnes Garn, Knitting for Olives, Merino. I think they were the commonest ones. Somebody did use Finita by We Are Knitters, but I'd say the first two that I said are probably a closer match. And then mohair wise, somebody did substitute for Camarosa Midnight Sol, which is a mohair alternative, merino, tencel and alpaca. So if you can't really tolerate mohair, then that would be a good alternative. Some people used Samnes Garn tin silk mohair, Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair. Some people used Lana Gatto silk mohair. Somebody did use the We Are Knitters Touch Me mohair, but that is a bit of a different mohair to the other ones that I've mentioned. It's a bit of a different weight, and if you want to hear more about that, my lovely friend Sophie from the Knit Pearl Girl, I'm pretty sure, has some stories explaining. So yeah, when I publish the pattern, I am going to publish like the yarn alternatives that the testers used. I'm not going to recommend any yarn alternatives that haven't been tested, but obviously bear in mind that this sample was knit in the recommended yarn. If possible, it would be best to knit it in the recommended yarn, just because that's the one that it was designed with in mind, I suppose. But I understand that that's not, you know, you can't get that everywhere, and also maybe people just don't like it, so you can knit it in whatever you like. It's just about getting gauge and being satisfied with the fabric that the yarns make, isn't it? But I think that's most of the questions that people have been asking today. I did an Instagram post this morning explaining when the release date was going to be, and those are some of the questions that have popped up in the comments. But yeah, if you have any other questions and you're not on Instagram, or even if you are, feel free to ask in the comments on this video. That's absolutely fine. I think I've rambled on about that long enough. I probably should have put this at the end. Never mind. Who cares? So yeah, this is my first ever pattern release. This is the first sweater by Hive Knit, and it should be available to buy on the 29th of January. So let's just calm down a second. I've got such dry lips. I think it's the cold. Dear me. Okay, so after all that, finished objects. So my first finished object is not here because it was gifted over the Christmas period to my wonderful brother, who turned out to be maybe the most knit-worthy person I have ever knit for. I wish I could have filmed his response when he opened his gift. It was just amazing. So for those of you who have seen previous videos, I made the zipper sweater man for my brother Will for his Christmas present. Now, this was a saga. I started making the jumper in October, and I originally started making it with one of the recommended yarns in the pattern. The pattern is by Petite Knit. She has a original zipper sweater which was designed with for a female body shape, and then she followed on with the zipper sweater man, which has a few differences. I think I don't know if there's actually shaping as such in the original, but this one is larger. The rib detailing on the high-necked collar and hem and cuffs is 1x1 rib as opposed to twisted rib as it is in the original. And I think the length of ribbing on the sleeves is a little bit different as well. In the zipper sweater man there are decreases on the sleeves. I don't know if there are in the original pattern because I don't have the original pattern yet. But yes, and she also has a zipper sweater junior and a zipper neck as well. So it's a whole range, and I really like the pattern, but I really struggled to settle with the recommended yarn. Now, in the original zipper sweater pattern, the recommended yarn is Phil Kalana Peruvian Highland wool held with a strand of mohair. I think it's Tilia by Phil Kalana, which is recommended. But in the zipper sweater man pattern, the yarn recommendation is different. So there are two recommended yarns. The first is Fritted Garn by Sandnes Garn, which is a very rustic Norwegian wool, and the other recommended yarn is Helholt, which they're shepherd's yarn, which again, I haven't actually felt it or used it, but apparently it is quite rustic. I think that's a wool and mohair mix. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, I went for the Fritted Garn, started making it, received it and was like, I think this is a bit itchy for my brother. He's quite particular. So I added a strand of Drops brushed alpaca to try and soften things up a bit, and at the beginning I thought that would do. I thought that was great, but as I carried on knitting it, I just wasn't happy with how it was knitting up. Not the garment. The garment looked fantastic. You can see it in my previous videos. There's a picture of it on my Instagram. I'm not going to get it out again in this video, but yeah, it was just, the more I knit of it, and I got to the stage where I could kind of try it on, and just with that really gorgeous but high collar, you know, on quite a sensitive area of skin, I just was like, I think it's not for him. And I just had that feeling in the pit of my stomach that this just wasn't the right thing to do. So on a whim, in a bout of insomnia fueled by ridiculous shift patterns at work, I remember about the end of November, I just ordered in the night a load of Drops Nepal, which is an alpaca and wool mix. I think it's about 65-35 mix, and it just started again completely. I think it arrived on one of the last days of November and I finished it on the 31st of December, which was a real push because I was seeing him on the 31st of December. Seeing my brother, I mean. And yeah, the morning, I went down to my parents after Christmas who live in Devon and I took it with me. And I'd finished all the knitting. I just had this zip to go. And I was like, I'll be fine, it'll be absolutely fine. But I kind of underestimated that you actually have to knit a zip facing as well. So you have to do a little bit of knitting inside the zipper in order to get the strip of material that you then have to sew down, that the zip kind of sits into, if that makes sense. So that was a bit fiddly. And then the actual, well, then I blocked it to measurements and also to get the fabric to relax and be the fabric that I wanted it to be when I was sewing the zip into it. So that took time because it's a big garment in wool. Luckily my parents have a spare bedroom that's quite small with a radiator that really packs a punch, so I just shoved it in there for like 2 days and it was still a little bit damp when I was sewing the zip in. And then, I don't know, I think I wouldn't use the word naive because I knew the zip was going to be an absolute pain to sew in and I was worried about it the whole time, but I don't know why I left myself literally a day or 2 days to do it. And I sat down to sew it in and it just wasn't sitting right. I think you had to use sewing pins to kind of almost baste it in place. And I think the pins made it worse because they made the fabric really bunch up. And it just looked really untidy and I was just like, oh God, this is awful. I'm not going to be able to do it. So that was the 30th of December. So it got quite late at night by this point. And I was like, right, I'm going to just stop, put it away and have a look at it again tomorrow. So then on the 31st of December, New Year's Eve, my mum was like, there's a haberdashery in town. Why don't you just have a wander down into town, get some fresh air and see if the lady who runs it is there, if it's open, because she may be able to give you some tips on sewing in a zip, / you may be able to, you know, pay her to sew it in as a service. So I was like, yeah, let's go. So I trundled off into town, shut. It's a very small town where they live, so I don't think the shop had a website. Anyway, so I was like, oh God, I'm gonna have to do this myself. And it was one of those things where you just sit down and then when you do it again and it just worked. I managed to sew it in. I'd watched, there was a video on YouTube I watched of someone else sewing their zip in. There's a Kimmy Monkcombe video that Petite Knit recommends on her website, but there was also someone else's video. I can't remember who it was now. I'll put it in the description because I found it really useful. She kind of did a little review of her zipper sweater and then a few tips on sewing the zip in. And I don't know what happened. Maybe it was just fresh eyes or just the sheer determination of the fact that I was giving it to him like that evening. I don't know. But it worked and I sewed it in. And I'm not going to lie, I was really pleased with it. Like, I'm not one to toot my own horn normally, but I don't know how it went from being so untidy and such a like heap of despair to actually being something I'm so proud of. Like, it looks really neat in the end. Like, it's a really, I think it finishes the garment really well. And I'm glad that I took the time to do it, you know, properly. And actually now I'm just really proud that I managed to do it myself and didn't have to like get anyone else to do it for me. Sorry, I just had to restart the camera there. My camera, like many other people's cameras, only lets me film for about half an hour at once before I have to like restart. A couple of people told me in my previous episode that it's to do with EU laws, I think, and because it's not sold as like a video camera or a camera for filming, it's more a camera for taking photos on. It's something to do with they can't market it as such, so it can only take half an hour's worth of footage at once. I don't know, it's really confusing, quite annoying, but never mind. Anyway, all that to say that yeah, I was really pleased with the outcome of the zipper sweater man in the end. I will insert some pictures if I haven't done so already when I'm editing this. I actually don't have a picture of him wearing it, which I realised once we left my parents and I said goodbye to him, which is really annoying. So maybe I'll ask him to send me one. But the fit was fantastic, which I'm really glad about, because I specifically asked him when I'd seen him a few months before to bring another similar, like commercially made quarter zip sweater, and I measured that one that he really, really likes and wears a lot. And then he made some tweaks. He was like, oh, that one's a little bit short, can I just have an extra couple of centimetres, that kind of thing. So I really wanted it to fit well, because it was like properly custom made. And I think I did change one of the, I didn't like sit completely with one of the sizes in pattern. I had to do a bit of jiggery pokery, because the drops Nepal, even when blocked and it did bloom a little bit, I think I ended up using 5.5mm needles instead of the recommended 5, and my gauge was slightly off, which I knew about from the swatch. It was like 16 stitches in 10 centimetres instead of, or 16.5 instead of 15. So I did some maths and worked out at the widest point I knew what width I wanted it to be, or what circumference I wanted it to be for his preferred circumference of the sweater. So I knew how many stitches I needed to get it to using that gauge of 16 stitches in 10 centimetres, which was actually really satisfying, and weirdly like kind of using the designing skills I've learned but in reverse, to decide on, yeah, which I think I ended up knitting sort of between two of the sizes, and yeah, whatever I did, it worked, because it fit him really, really well, and he absolutely fell upon it. Like, you know when something's taken you so long and you feel like you've taken such a gamble on it, and especially because I restarted it at, you know, such short notice, and, you know, I really did like monogamously work on that. Yeah, blood, sweat and tears, and it was worth every single second, every single stitch, because he absolutely loved it, and it looked exactly as I wanted it to look. I took some pictures in my mum and dad's house of it, but not with him in it, which, like I said, is a bit annoying, but never mind. It doesn't matter. So yeah, really successful project. I would love to make one for myself, because I just think the finished thing just looks so good, but I just need a bit of time before I tackle the zip again. I think having done it once, it would be okay. Like, I would feel more confident going into it, and I wouldn't be as stressed, and there wouldn't be the same time pressure as there was on this one. But I just need a bit of time before I go through that again, I think. And I've got a few other things on my plate. So yeah, that was the Zipper Sweater Man by Petite Knit, which I made for my brother's Christmas present using drops Nepal in navy blue. And the zip I used was from the Petite Knit website. It was the one with the navy blue facing, which in the end worked very well with the colour choice. And as for the fritted scarn and the brushed alpaca, the half Zipper Sweater Man that I made with those yarns is just put to one side, and I have a plan for it, and I shall say no more about that for now, but you may see it in a few months' time. So that was my first finished object, which I don't have, but I do have my second finished object here. Now, I just went and got it out of the airing cupboard because I finished it, early hours of yesterday, and I blocked it yesterday and I left it to dry, but because it is several layers of fabric, it's not quite dry yet, but I can show you anyway and then pop it back in the airing cupboard. So this is my Oslo Hat by Petite Knit, which I have made with Lanagatto VIP yarn in the colour Moss, which was very kindly gifted to me very sneakily by Simona from Knit Yarns, who shoved it into a parcel when I ordered the yarn for my mum's Christmas present. I opened the bag. I'd ordered the Filcolana Arvetta from Simona for my mum, and inside the bag were 3 green skeins of yarn. I was like, huh, this isn't what I ordered. And then I realised what she'd done. So let me show you. Ta-da! I don't know why I've kept it on this blocking knot, that's a bit weird. Let me take it off. It's just because it's still a bit wet, so I don't want it to get out of shape. So this is my Oslo hat. It's really, really lovely. Let me get that to focus. Yeah, there you go. So it's all stockinette stitch. So it's very, very simple, but very, very classic, I think. And it's got like crown decreases, which there's basically 4 of those. Sorry, I'm holding it really weirdly because I don't want it to get out of shape because it actually is still really quite damp. So I will show you it properly in the next episode and I'll put it on, but you can see it there for now. It's a triple folded brim, which is probably why it's taking so long to dry, because you essentially knit to however many centimetres, fold over and knit together like you would for a folded collar, but then you also then knit a bit more and then fold it over again. So actually down here, this is 3 layers of yarn. There's the inside. So this is, yeah, that's 2 layers in there. And then this is another layer that's folded up. So yeah, it's going to be really, really, really toasty around the old ears. This yarn is just an absolute dream. It's so beautiful. No, don't do that. Yeah, it's just stunning. It feels like butter. The Lanagatto VIP is 80% extra fine merino and 20% cashmere, and my word, can you tell, it is, honestly, when I got it out the bag that Simona sent it in, I nearly cried. And I was just about to say that's really lame, but actually I'm preaching to the choir here. I'm sure you all can understand. It's just so soft and it was an absolute joy to knit with. You can really tell that it's got that cashmere element in it, and I cannot wait to have this like keeping my forehead and ears so snug. And the colour is just beautiful as well. It's, I don't know how well it's going to show up in this sort of artificial light, but it's like a greeny grey colour, almost like a very light khaki. It's called moss. The Lanagatto official colour is moss, but it's very light. To me, moss is like a dark, almost foresty green. This is a very light green. That's probably potentially a bit truer. Anyway, it's really, really gorgeous. You can see the crown decreases there, and I can't wait to put this on. This was quite a quick knit once I got into the swing of things. It's knit on 3.5mm needles, so not the quickest, but you really like get what you pay for, if that makes sense. Like, it's such a it's a slow one because it's on such tiny needles, but you really get that luxurious fabric that you really only get with such tiny needles. Like, small needles are a pain, right? But the fabric that you get from using them, I think, is just super luxurious. Like, that's partly why I used such small needles and such small gauge to make this, because I just think that the fabric that you get from it is really, really nice. Takes ages, but personally I feel like it's worth it, and this is no exception. Like, it's just beautiful. Yeah, it's really, really lovely. There is a mohair version of this pattern as well, but I just decided not to add mohair to this yarn because I thought it would only detract from it. Like, if you'd have got that beautiful fuzz, but I thought this yarn needed some time to shine on its own. Oh, there's a hair there, lovely. So yeah, Oslo Hat, Petite Knit, Lanagatto, VIP, moss, amazing. Can't wait for it to be dry so I can put it on my head. I'm going to very carefully put this back on its blocking mat now. And then when I finished chatting, it can go back in the area cupboard. So as always, thank you so much, Simona, for that little sneaky gift in my purchase. It was really, really sweet of you, and it was the absolute perfect yarn to make that hat out of. So I think that's it for my finished objects. Sorry I only had one to show you. So let's move on to my works in progress. So the first one I actually only cast on last night, and I meant to put it on a longer cable. That's annoying. Maybe I'll do that in a second. But anyway, why don't I just tell you what it is instead of just chatting to myself. So the third Petite Knit pattern that I'm going to talk about in this episode, apparently. Last night I cast on the Louisiana Sweater by Petite Knit. Now I have had this pattern downloaded in my library for almost as long as I have been knitting. It was one of the first Petite Knit, probably was the first Petite Knit pattern I downloaded, and I've just never made it because I've never had the right yarn. It's made with Sadness Garn Borstet alpaca, which I think means brushed alpaca, which is thicker and weightier than the Drops brushed alpaca. I think it's even a bit weightier than the Drops Melody. So I've just never had the right yarn, and I've never bought the right yarn, so the pattern has just languished in my pattern library. But I've really always wanted to make it. I keep seeing it on Instagram, and it looks like such a fun, quick, cozy, chunky knit that looks great in neutrals but also bright colours. So on the last podcast episode I mentioned that I had, on a whim, bought 9 skeins of Sirdar Temptation when I was in Abercan, which is a yarn shop in the centre of Manchester, just before Christmas when it was on offer, in an insane lime green colour. Completely spur of the moment purchase. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's going to be perfect. That's going to be perfect to finally make the Louisiana sweater. So, ta-da! Here it is. It's so fluffy, it's so green. I feel like this is a proper Marmite project. You will either love this or you will absolutely hate it. I feel like, well, I absolutely love it, obviously, because I'm making it. But, it's very fluffy, it's very lurid. Is that a good word to use? Here's my little stitch stoppers that I bought and showed on the last podcast episode. Please focus. Thank you. They're hilarious, aren't they? Hello. Completely influenced by Laura from Penrose Knits to buy these. But anyway, just adding to the vibrant, bright colours. But yes, this is as far as I've got. I cast this on last night. It has got a double folded collar in this beautiful fluff. It's just made it so squishy. I can't wait for this to be around my neck. It's going to be so cozy. This yarn is it's hilarious. This yarn is 30% mohair and 70% acrylic, so it was pretty reasonably priced. I don't normally buy acrylic-y yarns. Is that now focusing on me? Because I don't tend to enjoy the plasticky feel of them nowadays, because I am a certified yarn snob, as will most of the people be that are watching this. But there is a time and a place, and actually this doesn't feel that acrylic-y, and actually, do you know what? It's great. Every now and again, it's nice to just buy something on the spur of the moment and not be completely oh no, I'm not buying that because of this, I'm not buying that because of this, It was completely impulse, and I love it. And it's very, very, considering how chunky the sweater is. This is knit on 9mm needles. The yarn is actually very light. I don't know if that's the acrylic making it very, very light. I'm not sure. This is the yarn, the Temptation. I hope that's going to focus. Let me just poke that. Boop. I hope you can see that there. It's very, very fluffy and very, very green. Doesn't look particularly attractive because it's now come out of its packaging, but yeah, it's gorgeous. Look at the fluff on that. And I'm just obsessed with this colour. It's called Sour Lime, and I think that is like summed it up perfectly. It kind of looks like that slime that you get that kids play with, doesn't it? Like a fluorescent, like limey green. So I think this is going to be absolutely banging when it's finished. It's going to be a real statement. Yeah, I'm about halfway through the yoke raglan increases. It's a 1-stitch raglan. Where is it? There it is. You can just see there. So I'm about halfway through, and when I've done like basically this progress again, I'll be able to split for sleeves. So considering I literally cast this on last night, that's progress in my book. I think this is exactly why I cast this on, because I have done so many projects on small needles recently. This and the Oslo Hat, and like, well, the Zipper Sweater Man was 5.5mm needles, but it was big. And I just was like, I need something that's just chunky, but also like, it's quite a loose, it's a loose-ish gauge. Like, it's not particularly tight. I think, I can't remember what the actual gauge in the pattern is. But anyway, it's on 9mm needles, and it's not like tight, tight, tight. It's on the airy side. And I just was like, I need that in my life right now. Like, I need something that I could knit, you know, if I properly sat down and worked on it solidly, I could probably knit it in like a week. I don't have that kind of time. Who am I kidding? But, you know, I think I just needed like the opposite of what I'd been knitting for so long. So yeah, oops, oh no, one of my hands has fallen off. These hands, not my actual hands. I'm not going to bother putting it on bigger cords. Sorry, you get the picture. But yeah, I'm hoping, I don't know when I'm next going to film a podcast, but I'm hoping that this will be, I'm not going to say done, because that's probably a bit ambitious, but I'm hoping that this will be well on the way by then. So yeah, Louisiana Sweater, Petite Knit, 9mm needles, Serdar, Temptation, lime green. So that is whip number 1. And I actually only have 2 whips at the minute. I feel like that's not true. I feel like I must have, oops, sorry, I'm just trying to put the camera back on me. I feel like I must have another one that I've forgotten about, but if I have, I can't remember what it is. So I'll just show you these 2. So my second whip is, it's a whip obviously, but it's also one of my acquisitions. So it kind of ticks both boxes in this like podcast format. So I was lucky enough to receive for Christmas from my mum and dad my first ever dabbling in the world of hand-dyed mohair, which I've wanted to try for ages. I'm not like a sock knitter, so I feel like, rightly or wrongly, because of that, I don't really ever like use hand-dyed yarn that much. So I feel like hand-dyed yarn, you know, like merino, is used a lot for socks. But I really wanted to try some hand-dyed mohair and hold it with like a light base colour to make like a nice speckled effect. I've seen quite a few things made like that, and I just think it looks really lovely. But I was just waiting for the opportunity. So for Christmas, my mum and dad bought me 3 skeins of the amazing hand-dyed yarn by Rhea Yarns. Rhea, I hope I'm saying that right. I will insert a picture of what the yarn looked like when it was still in skein form. I should have kept one. I've wound all 3 of them now, and I thought, oh, I probably should have kept one to show on the podcast, but never mind. So this is the, in fact I've got the band here. This is from Raya Yarns, who is a lovely indie dyer based in Ireland, and her name is Leah, the person behind this brand. So I purchased my parents purchased 3 skeins of her kid silk mohair base. So it's 72% silk and no, it's not. That would be something. It's 72% mohair and 28% silk, and 50 grams runs at 420 meters, I believe. And I chose the colourway Artemis, which is just this stunning speckled colourway using like dark blues and dark purples. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, 420 meters, she's written it on here actually. So let me show you it. Oops, this is it in the ball that I've wound up. It's beautiful. I really hope that this does it justice. You can see there, when it's wound up like that in a ball, it looks like it's all lilac, but that's not the case at all. It's got some beautiful streaks of like dark blue going through it. A lot of it's actually just a very pale, maybe slightly lilac, but almost just a kind of pale creamy base. So that's it wound up into a ball. I have done a swatched for the project that I'm doing, so I'll show you this one. And this is what I mean when it's paired with a pale base yarn. It just looks so beautiful. I'm trying not to let the light shine through. Yeah, really beautiful, just like speckly goodness. So this is paired with the Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool in Snow White. Is that shirt picking up properly? When I was practicing, I got a really good, that's probably a good representation of it. Yeah, it's just stunning. And I have done, remember last episode I said I was going to do my yarn labels? Well, I actually have. If this will pick up. This was one of my acquisitions, some labels I bought from Amazon. There we go. Now I can write what I've held together and on what needle. So no longer will I be scrambling around going, now which needle size did I knit that on, as I was doing before, which was really, really annoying. You can see that a bit better there actually. But yeah, it's just really lovely, and it's just lifted this white yarn incredibly. Like, it's just beautiful. So I swatched on 5mm needles and on 5.5mm needles, and I just think this one's a bit stretchy for the project that I'm going to make, which I will tell you about in a second. This one's just a bit less stretchy. So this is the one that I've gone for. So I'm making the sweater number 11 by My Favourite Things Knitwear, which again, I have had this pattern in my pattern library for ages, and again, just haven't found the time or the right yarn to make with it. Now, I will fully admit that I was fully influenced, knitfluenced, whatever you want to call it, by both Caroline's Knits and The Obsessive Maker, who both made Wednesday sweaters by Petite Knit, which is a very, very similar pattern to sweater number 11, in that it's got the big folded turtleneck in twisted rib, and the construction is similar, although has some differences, which I'll explain in a second. But they both made Wednesday sweaters using a very pale base yarn and a hand-dyed mohair to make speckles, and I'll insert pictures of both. And I just think they're really beautiful. So when I got this yarn combination, I was like, right, that's what I'm going to make. Now, I'm not going to make the Wednesday sweater per se, because if you look at both the patterns, the Wednesday sweater and the sweater number 11, they're very similar, but the sweater number 11 has a really lovely shoulder construction, which is made out of increases, which I like better than the Wednesday Sweater one. But the Wednesday Sweater has a split hem, which I like better than the sweater number 11. So I think what I'm actually going to do is hack the pattern and kind of make like a hybrid sweater number Wednesday, or Wednesday number 11 maybe. But I thought it would be easier to buy, maybe I'll end up buying both. I'm more than happy to support designers. But I thought it would be easier to try and make up a split hem by myself than to try and work out how the shoulder construction had been done. So I've bought sweater number 11, and I'm mainly following that pattern. So what else was I going to say about this? Oh yeah, so I have started. I cast this on around my birthday, and it is looking very, very beautiful. I'll show you my progress. Like, just isn't that just amazing on the white yarn with the speckles? It's just so pretty. And this is what I was talking about, that really lovely, like, it's hard to tell exactly how this is going to work out, but this is essentially the back, and that's that shoulder construction that I was talking about with those increases making that amazing ridge. Yeah, I think it looks really nice. And I love the way that the mohair is speckling the Peruvian Highland wool. It's curling a bit because this is all in stockinette, but the issue I have, I don't know how well this will pick up in on this camera, is that I've never had this problem before, right? But it's kind of started like rowing out. Can you see that there's a difference in tension on different rows? Now I think that those rows that are standing out are my purl rows, which is making me think that my tension is different on my pearls than it is on my knit stitches, because this section is obviously knit flat, and I believe the shoulders will be picked up from here, and then you will join in the round and carry on. So there will be knitting in the round later, but I think this is just going to stand out and be really obvious. Now, this has never happened to me before, and I have made garments that are knit flat and then joined in the round, and this just hasn't happened before, so I don't really understand why it's happening now. And it didn't happen on my swatch. Like, that's very smooth. There's no issues there. So one possibility is this is blocked and this is not, and it will block out. That's what the girls on my knit group said. And I think they probably are right, and I hope they will be right. But if it doesn't, it's a long time to wait and then for that not to happen. The only other thing I can think of is that I'm knitting this on different needles to what I normally use. I'll talk about them more in detail because they were a Christmas present. But I'm knitting this on wooden needles. Come on. Instead of metal needles. I normally use metal needles, and these are the Licker Driftwood short circulars. So I wonder if it's that, because I haven't done that much really in the grand scheme of things. I'm tempted, as painful as it'll be, to undo it, start again on my metal needles and see if it makes a difference, and if not, hope it'll block out. It's very odd. Sorry, I just had to reset my camerata. Yeah, it's weird. I don't quite know why it's happened. It's not that obvious unless it catches the light. Like, when it's like that, you can't really see. When it's like that, you can. And if it was going to be the whole thing, I probably wouldn't mind as much, but I know that it's going to be joined, and then I'm going to be knitting in the round, and then it won't happen because that will be stockinette. That will just be knit stitches. There won't be any purling. So I think it might be more obvious then, because there'll then be a lack of it beyond a certain point. Has anyone else found this when they've been knitting flat or when they've been knitting this pattern? I'm curious. And if so, did it block out? Was it your needle choice? I've heard some people saying that you could purl on a smaller needle if it is your purl rose. So that's a possibility. Well, that'd be faffy changing the needles all the time, but you know, it'd be worth it to make it even. Let me know. I'm interested to know your thoughts. But yeah, otherwise this is going to be such a lovely jumper. I can just tell it's going to be incredible. Beautiful. So that is my second whip. This is the Peruvian Highland wool and the hand dyed together, by the way. Yeah, really, really pretty. Peruvian Highland wool is in the colourway Snow White, which is colour code 100, if anybody cares. I care about that kind of thing, so that's why I told you. Right, so that's my finished objects, and that's my whips. Oh, just another shout out to my great yarn bowl, by the way. I now have 2 yarn bowls, this one and the one that Harriet from HK Clay made for me, which I showed you on a different episode. But this, my lovely friend Rachel, who I've known from medical school and is handmade by Rachel on Instagram, bought me this for my birthday last year, and it's just beautiful. It's, oh, I've just forgotten the name of the person who makes them. No, I haven't. Little Wren Studios, that's who made this. And yeah, it's really chunky actually, it's lovely. It holds quite a lot of yarn. That's her little stamp on the bottom. So yeah, shout out to Little Wren, shout out to Rachel. Thank you very much. Just need a quick drink of water. So, acquisitions. So I've talked about one already. My beautiful hand-dyed mohair from Raya Yarns. She dyes on a lot of different bases. She dyes on the mohair, as I showed you. She dyes on Suri alpaca. Oh, I forgot to show you. She included a little mini skein. Oh, I'm so glad I remembered that. How pretty. Please focus. Come on. I will work out this camera one day. I think that's focusing now. Yeah, how pretty is this? It's a little mini skein that she threw in the package. Now, she hasn't put a label on it, so I don't know exactly which colourway this is. If I can work it out from her website, I will add it in the description. And I don't know exactly what base it is. I'm assuming it feels like a sock, maybe. I'm not an expert because I don't make socks, as previously mentioned. But yeah, it's gorgeous. It's got all these lovely speckles in it. Like beautiful pinks and all sorts in there. Don't focus on me, focus on the yarn. There we go. Yeah, stunning. So I wonder if this is a mini sock skein, but I will find out what base it is. If I can't tell from her website, I'll ask her. But pretty. So thank you for that. I don't know what I can do with this tiny amount of yarn. If you have any ideas, let me know. It's really, really pretty, and I'm not sure what to do with it. I wondered if it would be enough to make a pair of mittens by my lovely Laura from Penrose Knits, but I'm not sure. It will be. I haven't weighed it, so that's really unhelpful, but I assume this looks like a standard like mini skein. I've seen quite a lot of people who make socks and things, and quite a lot of the yarn advent calendars had like this size of mini skein. So if you have any ideas what I can make with this, please let me know. That would be lovely. And sorry for forgetting that before. So yes, that was acquisition number 1. So then let's move on. So let's think what order to do this in. So I actually have quite a few acquisitions. I said last episode, oh, I never normally have that many acquisitions, and I don't normally, but I do again this time, which is fun. I actually think my camera battery is going to die at some point, so I may have to do this in 2 halves, but we will see. So the second thing I'll talk about is my gorgeous friend Simona from Knit Yarns. I feel so incredibly lucky to have her as my friend. Like, she's part of our Zoom knit group, and she's so funny. The last time we were chatting, I said to her, I was like, I think I need to just be more Simona, because I would just love to see life through her eyes more. Like, whenever we moan about having a problem or like something that we're like overthinking, she's like, just do this, just do that. Like, she's just fabulous in so many ways, and she sure is generous with her like presents and gifts that she gives out. Like, she's just amazing. But she took it upon herself this Christmas to send a Christmas gift to me, which was so, so lovely. I did post about this on Instagram yesterday or the day before, but this beautiful, beautiful box, which is here, let me show you. This beautiful box arrived on Christmas Eve, and I was really grumpy on Christmas Eve because I'd worked a long day the day before, you know, like a 12-hour day. And then I was working all the next day, which was Christmas Day and Boxing Day. And yeah, I was really grumpy. And then this arrived completely unexpected. And I was just really taken aback and cheered right up and realised how lucky I am to have such lovely friends. So she won't be watching this because she never does. But thank you, Simona, for your lovely Christmas present. And no, it wasn't just a blue cardboard box. There was actually something in it. So there are a few things in it. I will go through them. So the first thing, so in Simona's shop, if you haven't visited her website, where have you been, what are you doing, get there immediately. Stop watching this, pause this, go to www.knit.co.uk, I think that's the website, knit with 2 T's, have a look how amazing it is, and then come back. Report back. She sells loads of really great yarn brands, a lot of like yarn brands that you can't necessarily get on other websites and can't get that easily in the UK. So she sells things like Filcolana and Sandnes Garn. She does sell a lot of drops, but I gather that she is discontinuing that soon. She sells Lana Gatto, and she also sells knitting accessories by Mood Living, which is M-U-U-D. Now, I have never had any of these Mood accessories, but I've always been really jealous of everyone that does. Like, they're just really pretty and really like aesthetically pleasing, and I've never been able to justify buying any because I have stuff that does the job but it's just not as nice. And I've always like preferred to spend my money on yarn, I suppose. But anyway, she gifted me a couple of lovely things from Mood, which I will show you now. Where have they gone? Oh, here they are. So the first thing, they've all got little interesting little names. So this is called Helsinki, and this is from, can you see the word Mood there? Am I holding that upside down? No. Mood, you can just about see that there, can't you? So this is a leather little notions case, little round case, and it's called Helsinki, and it's in the tan leather, which is the colourway is called Whiskey, and it just opens like this, and you can put whatever you want in there. So if I can show you without spilling it all everywhere, kind of. But I've got like stitch markers in here, like needle stoppers, yeah, lots of stitch markers. You probably can't really see. You don't need to see all my stitch markers. That's really boring, but this is a really cool case. So that is the Helsinki, which she kindly gave me. Then we have got the, now have I got these right around? I think so. This is the Eva, or Ava, E-V-A. Oh, come along. There we go. Which is a tape measure holder. I didn't know I needed a tape measure holder in my life until I got given this. But oh my word, I'm always losing my tape measure. Even after Christmas, I texted my mum and was like, have you seen my tape measure? Which she'll laugh at if she's watching this. I'm always losing them. So it's quite nice to have it all tidied up in this little holder. So this is the Ava, and again, it's in colourway Whiskey, and it's leather. And then lastly, the, I'm lying, I think that was the Enya. I'm not very good at this, am I? So sorry. I think that was Enya. This is Eva, which is a needle holder, you know, like sewing needles. So really, really cool. again, tan leather whiskey colourway, and I've just got my, these by the way are so good. These are a set of 3 darning needles with like plastic flexible loops on the end, which I got from Meg at No Frills Knitting. So I'd really recommend these. There's one, that's the biggest one, and then there's these 2 as well, and basically in different sizes. That's really unhelpful, you can't really see them. But yeah, definitely recommend those. And then that just flips over there and tidies away. So that is the Ava. Now my battery indicator is flashing, so I'm just going to quickly sort that out. Right, I'm back. Might have to speed things up because I didn't get super long on the charge. Anyway, so I was talking about the beautiful things that Simona sent me for Christmas. So I know you're all dying to know what's in this beautiful blue box, and I will show you. Ta-da-ta-da. Oh my word. How gorgeous is that? We'll get them out in a second, but how pretty. So Simona sent me five skeins of this absolutely stunning mohair by Lang, the yarn company Lang. Now this is the Lang lace, and this is in this ethereal pale pink colour. It's probably picking up slightly paler than it actually is on camera there, but just look at that. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's so pretty. Now I have wanted to try this for such a long time. These like Lang mohair, it's just incredible, and it's been on my to try list for ages. It's a different sort of makeup of yarn to other mohairs on the market. So it's 58% mohair and 42% silk. So that's a really high silk content compared to other mohairs on the market. And I think that's what's just making it glow so much. It's so pretty. Yeah, I'm so grateful to Simona for sending that. It's 25 grams in a skein as per normal with mohair, but it's quite a lot thinner, and you get much more yardage in the 25 grams. So you get 310 meters in 25 grams. Now, for example, Drops Kid Silk, which is what I use for this, you get 210 meters in 25 grams. So it's almost 1.5 times more length of yarn in your skein than in a different mohair. So that probably makes it quite a lot thinner, which will be interesting when it comes to knitting it up. Yeah, Laura from Penrose Knits has some of this as well, and she's made her absolutely stunning souffle design. If you haven't seen it, please go and check out her channel. I'm sure you will have, because who hasn't, right? But check out her Instagram, Penrose Knits, or her YouTube latest podcast episode on YouTube, the Knitting Pickle podcast, where she is wearing it and talks all about it. And she used this to design that, and I think that's beautiful because in some ways I feel like that yarn is so stunning that it needs to be used on its own to really make the most of it. But in other ways, I also feel like it would be amazing and could really lift another yarn base, but it would have to be the right one. So I can't decide what to make with it. I think I'm going to have to just have a think about it. I have got potentially the sweater number 14, either the round neck or the V-neck in my head. Now, Fufu Knits on Instagram, she made a version of that, which is just divine looking. Like, every time I see a picture of it, it's just stunning. And in my mind, that garment that she's made, that glows the way that yarn glows, so I'm associating it. She didn't make it with Lang mohair. I'm not sure what the mohair was. I know she made it with Phil Kalana Saga, which is also a yarn I've been wanting to try. So I wonder if I could make that. It needs to be something really special because that yarn is something really special. So the moral of the story is I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to make with it yet. But I'm just, yeah. When that arrived on Christmas Eve, I was a bit lost for words, to be honest. It's stunning. It's so generous. Thank you so much, Simona. You made me a very, very, very happy girl. So I'll move on just because I'm conscious of time, even though I could sit and stare at that yarn forever. While we're talking about mohairs, I also received a lovely Christmas present from my boyfriend, and just so sweet. Like I asked him for some knitting needles for Christmas. In fact, I'll show you those now I've just talked about them. I asked him for some short circular needles because now I'm a Magic Loop convert, but prior to that revelation I was using these awful DPNs that are really long, and I just fell out with them many times, and I was just like, I really want some short circulars to use on sleeves. And so for Christmas I got these. These are the Licker Driftwood 3.5 inch or 9 centimetre needles. So they are the normal length ones, in inverted commas, are 15 centimetres, I think. Don't quote me on that. 5 inches, something like that. Anyway, these are 3.5 inch or 9 centimetre needles, and they come in this lovely pouch. They're very compact, actually. There's one set missing because I have them on my sweater number 11, but this is what they look like inside. And that is what they look like. I have no idea if that's going to focus or not. Come on. They're just this lovely grey wood, driftwood they're called. There you go. Yeah, really nice. And they come from size 3.25 all the way up to, is that a 6.5? Yes, 6.5. And then there's a bit at the bottom for cords and whatnot. So yeah, really pleased with them. Have used them like quite a few times already. I've made my Oslo hat using them, and like I said, I've started using them for my sweater number 11. I don't want to blame the needles, but it might just be that I normally use, my other set of interchangeables are Knit Pro Novas, so they're metal and they're very, very smooth and everything glides. And these are coated wood. They're not like, it's not sticky, but it's not as smooth as the metal, so I just wonder if it's made a difference. They were absolutely gorgeous to knit my hat on, and they're lovely to knit with, and I can tell they're going to be such a success. But yeah, like I said, I'm just going to see if that has made a difference. But yeah, super, super grateful to Pete for these. An amazing, amazing Christmas present. And yeah, thank you very much. But as a surprise, he also got me some beautiful blue fluff. How pretty! This colour is just stunning. It's like a sky, like a lovely sky blue. There we go, let's focus now. Yeah, it's beautiful. That colour is probably quite true to life, I would say. Yeah, so pretty. So this is mohair from, now I don't quite know how to pronounce this name, Sostrin Green. I'm sure my lovely friend Caroline can help me out, because this is I looked them up earlier, it's a Danish shop. Two sisters, Anna and Clara, made this shop, and we have a branch in Manchester, and I absolutely love it. I actually haven't been in ages because of the old Rona, but Pete must have snuck in around Christmas time and bought these for me, which is really nice. I did know they did yarn, but I'd actually forgotten. So this is a mohair blend, which is 80% mohair and 20% nylon. 215 meters to 25 grams, so that's what I would consider to be a more standard mohair than the Lang lace. But look, oh gosh, those colours are really lovely together actually. Whoa. I don't think I'll knit them together, but whoa, all the pastel dreams right there. So yeah, I don't quite know what I'll make with this. I'm wondering if maybe I will use it to make myself a zipper sweater one day, because how great would a zipper sweater be in this awesome baby blue colour? And I could get like some Peruvian Highland wool in a similar colour to match, or maybe I could swatch it with the white that I'm using for my sweater number 11 and see what that looks like. That's my current thought. I haven't quite decided yet, but yeah. Lucky girl, so much yarn for Christmas, honestly. So spoiled. Right, so then I've just got a couple more things to show you, if my battery's gonna hold out. Let's see. So, on Christmas Eve, when I received Simona's parcel, as if that wasn't exciting enough, I also received another very, very big box, which is looking at me, and I will show you in just 2 ticks. So this box is gifted by Rowan, the yarn brand. Now, Rowan, or Mode at Rowan, which I think is also Quail Studio, they seem to have a few different names for their sort of designing arm of their brand. They reached out to me in early summer, I want to say, and asked if I wanted to knit something from their spring-summer collection, and I was like, yes, that would be amazing, because that collection was like based on all these beautiful like neutrals, kind of like this colour, and then like sagey green colours are like really up my street, and I was like, yes, that would be amazing, thank you so much. Then there was a bit of a problem with communication, and my order that I put in just fell through. So then in autumn, when their new autumn winter collection came out, they reached out and were like, actually, do you want to just knit something from this collection? And I was like, that's absolutely fine, go for it. And then I wasn't sure if there'd been another problem with like the order or anything, because I hadn't heard anything for a while. And then suddenly on Christmas Eve, this amazing parcel pitched up, and it's so big, literally much bigger than me. Yeah, can't be mistaking that, can you? So I might film some footage separately of opening this, because it's going to be a bit difficult to do on camera. Hello, sorry, I'm back. Had another bit of a mare. The battery died again. I hadn't charged it for as long as I thought, and now for some bizarre reason my camera, the flippy screen, is stuck like the wrong way around, so I can only now look at myself upside down, which is less than ideal. So I think this is the world trying to tell me to wrap things up a bit. So bear with, we'll just finish this last little bit. So I was telling you about the gorgeous box that Rowan very kindly sent to me, and actually while I was trying to faff about with the camera, I have filmed a cutaway, so I'll put that in while I was talking before. It's very weird only being able to see myself upside down. Anyway, so yes, they sent me well, they basically said, what would you like to make? And it's from collection 5, which is their see, that's now really weird because it's upside down. Sorry, it's very hard to show you stuff when I can only really see it upside down, so just bear with me. So yes, collection 5 from their autumn winter range. So they sent in the box was the yarn and this beautiful like brochure as well, which obviously I won't show you all the inside of because it's got all of the patterns in for this collection, which normally would be paid for patterns, but if I just do a quick sort of flick through, you can kind of get the picture. And the pattern that I chose to make is called the Eleanor dress. Oh yeah, there is a picture of it here that isn't going to give anything away vis-a-vis the pattern. I wonder if you can see that. Yeah, it's really nice. So it's a dress that's long sleeved with a high kind of high neck, and you can roll it over if you want to. And then it's like a midi length, and I don't know how well you will be able to see this, but it's sort of like a ribbed rib style dress. So I'm really looking forward to making that. There was loads of things that I could have made, and I just had to make a bit of a decision really, which was very hard because I'm naturally a very indecisive person. But yeah, I went for that one in the end. They do actually have, this is probably easier to show you, sort of all their lovely patterns like in the brochure. Yeah, this doesn't give anything away. There's the dress, looking lovely. I liked that stripy jumper as well, that was very nice. Just picking some at random to show you. So yeah, really gorgeous booklet, and really generous because now I can make some of the other patterns in here if I wanted to. Obviously I've only got the yarn to make the dress, but that's okay. So the yarn, you saw it in the cutaway, but it is this lovely yarn. Let me see if I can, I don't know if that's going to focus because I'm now also having to do this upside down. But this is it. So it is the Rowan Alpaca DK, which is, oh, it's got so much squish to it. It's really, really nice. Alpaca Soft DK, sorry, and this is in the colour Charcoal, and it is 70% virgin wool, which is what's written on the label. When I looked into that a bit more, it's a mixture of merino and extra fine merino, and 30% alpaca. It's a DK, obviously, which it states on the label, but it is 125 metres to 50 grams, and yeah, I can already tell this is next to skin soft. It feels really nice, so it'll be nice to have that high chunky collar made out of this. So I'm really looking forward to casting this on actually. I'm not quite sure when I will get to do that because obviously it's kind of coming towards the end of, not end, that's not right, it's the middle of winter, but in terms of like, obviously it's a dress in rib, so it's going to take me a while. So I think I might actually end up casting it on and knitting it sort of over summer, like as a bit of a slow burn project, because I'm well aware it's going to take a while, and then having it ready for autumn, because I think it will look like lush with like, I've got some like big platform DMs, Doc Martin boots with fur inside. I think it looks so nice with tights and with those. Yeah, oh, that's making me really excited actually. What was I going to say? The pattern's written knit flat, and I'm going to see if I can try and hack it so I can knit it in the round, because I just way prefer doing that. So that will probably take a bit of extra planning just to see if I can manage that. It'll be quite an interesting little challenge, that. So I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 balls of this. So yeah, quite a big project, but I'm super, super grateful to Rowan for sending this and their beautiful brochure of patterns. Yeah, really, really, really generous, and it was such a lovely parcel to open on Christmas Eve. So I will feed back. Obviously I haven't swatched up the yarn or anything like that yet. To be clear, they haven't asked me to talk about this. There wasn't a caveat on receiving the yarn. They just said, kind of approached me through Instagram and said that they liked my page and they would like to give me some yarn to make something from their collection. They didn't say I had to talk about it in a certain way. They didn't say I had to talk about it in my YouTube channel. They didn't say I had to post XYZ number of things. There was no like set thing I had to do. In fact, they didn't mention anything. I accepted the gift and I'm choosing to show you this as an acquisition, and I will give you my honest thoughts as and when I swatch up and start making the garment. But you know, first impressions are that it's a really, really nice yarn. Rowan yarns are very, very nice. I personally think they can be a bit overpriced. I don't know what this retails for actually, but their Kid Silk Haze I've used to make my September sweater, which is needs to come out of the naughty corner actually and get actually finished, but that's on the pricier side for a mohair. So I feel very, very lucky to have received this as a gift, because I am well aware that 15 skeins of this, which is a very beautiful yarn from a very prestigious yarn brand, would have set me back a fair bit. So I don't ever want me talking about receiving gifted stuff to come across as like, and then I got this, and then I got that, and then I got this, because that would make me sad if if that's how it comes across. I know I'm in a very privileged position to receive this and the things that Simona sends, and yeah, I'm really grateful. So thank you so much to Rowan, and I cannot wait to get working on that beautiful dress. So I did have a couple of other things that I was going to talk about, but I think I'll save them for next time because I'm losing the light. My camera is upside down. I need a cup of tea, and I've got a FaceTime scheduled with my mum. So I will, they're not like yarny acquisitions or anything, they're just a couple of little bits and bobs I got for my birthday. If the astute viewers amongst you might be able to see one of them right now actually. So have a little think about that. But yeah, I'm just going to sign off here and say thank you so much for watching again. It's so appreciated when everyone watches and leaves comments on my videos. It's so nice to just be able to sit here and chat and know that I'm connecting with like-minded yarny types of people. I'm so excited to be releasing my first pattern, the first sweater, in a couple of weeks' time. Stay tuned for all things first sweater related. I will be promoting it mainly over on Instagram because that's kind of the easiest platform for me to do that kind of thing on. So any updates to the release and kind of like pictures and stuff will all be put on there. Keep an eye out for my website as and when that's ready, www.hiveknits.com. I probably will actually do some kind of giveaway because I have just hit 8,000 followers over on Instagram, which is amazing, and I've had so many new subscribers over on this channel, which is so lovely. So welcome everyone, and thank you so much for like following along on this knit and natter titty chat channel. It's just so fun to like have everybody have everybody here and be part of this community. It's so appreciated, and it like it helps me like so much in my like both knitting life and just general life. Like yeah, I'm really grateful. Thank you. So I'm hoping to do a giveaway to mark the release of the sweater pattern, and also like a bit of a landmark with followers and things like that, and just again to say thank you for all the support. Details of that will be released over on Instagram, so again keep an eye out over on there. And then I am hoping at some point to do a knit along, but I'm not quite sure when. It might well be in the autumn. I am aware that I live in the Northern Hemisphere, and not everyone does, and our seasons are different to those in the Southern Hemisphere, but just if I'm going to be doing a knit along and like knitting along, which hopefully I will in a knit along, it would need to be a time when I would want to wear a jumper. So I suspect that will probably be late summer, early autumn, and I can get organised enough to do that. So I will say goodbye. I'll say thank you again so much for watching. Please, if you have a second, like and subscribe. It's always massively appreciated. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and any way you can share this channel by word of mouth or on social media is always appreciated so much. Thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of your day, whatever you are doing, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.